Hey guys, Jeremy here with Simple Little Life. Let's talk about EDC, or everyday carry. EDC is basically just a collection of things that you keep on your person from a day in and day out basis. Pretty much everybody EDCs whether they think about it or not. If you just leave your house with your car keys, house keys, your wallet and cell phone, essentially that is your EDC. While others tend to really geek out and really get in depth with all kinds of gizmos and gadgets and things that they want to have with them at all the time. But no matter which end of the spectrum are, chances are you EDC. Personally, I tend to fall on the minimalist side of the EDC. I don't like to have a lot of stuff on my person, but I do like to have a very carefully curated collection of tools and things that I think are really going to help me out on a day-to-day basis. Now, essentially, I carry two EDCs. One is set up primarily for when I'm working here on the homestead, making knives, fixing fences, doing whatever. And the other one is set up for when I'm going into town, say for shopping or going to functions, and I'm not going to be getting dirty. One has got some slightly nicer gear, and one has got my rough and tumbly gear, and a little bit of both of those crossover. Really, your EDC should be something that just makes your life a little bit easier. Let's head over to the workbench and I'll show you what I use. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start pulling things out of my pocket and I'll kind of show you. We're going to start off with my working EDC because that's the one I spend most of the time with, and working here in the homestead, making knives, doing whatever. The very first thing, obviously a pocket knife, and this is a Kershaw Clash. I've had this knife for like 8 years, inexpensive, solid, you know, it's decent enough. A lot of people have asked about this death proof and then this cut. I was just testing my electrochemical etching, and so I had to put some stencils on something, so I might as well. I've reprofiled this blade a few times, and you know, it just kind of keeps on hanging in there. I abuse the crap out of this knife. Every year or so I'll take it apart, clean it all out, oil it up, but really, oh, that one was a little slow. You see I've got lint in there right now. But typically it's a fairly quick deploy, assisted opening knife, and I just kind of like it. Carries nice, small enough. If you look at all my work pans, they've all got this profile worn into the sides because this is a knife that's always in my pocket. Next thing I like to always carry is a small flashlight, and my flashlight of choice, and has been for years and years, is a Phoenix E05. The reason I like this light is because it is a single AAA battery, and it's bright enough for what I need it for. And it's small enough that I never notice it in my pocket. I've washed this thing, I bet literally 20 times. I've probably carried this exact light for about 2.5 years, and it's holding up really, really well. Like I say, bright enough for those little times when you need to see underneath the couch, or, you know, it's dark and you just gotta, I don't know, go check on some animal or something. You know, it's just a handy little light, and again, small, small, small. Don't even notice it. Next will be a watch. Now, this watch of mine gets a lot of comments. Okay, so I bought this watch because it was $19.95, and I also really like the really slim profile. When I bought this watch, I was working for an oil company. I was making big equipment, and you know, when you're reaching inside of things, adjusting things, you're working as a mechanic. This watch is such a slim profile that it really allows you to do your job without it getting hung up. And this thing has been tough as nails. This watch actually receives a lot of comments. A lot of people will say that, you know what, 1981 called and they want their watch back. When I bought this watch, actually, my wife was embarrassed about it. She said, you can buy that, but you can't wear it out. Just a rock solid watch. Really, really like it. The other watch that I carry, and I use this one all the time, is the Fitbit Blaze. And I've got some mixed feelings about this. I just actually recently cracked my screen. I don't know if you can see it there. But one thing I hate about this watch is the bands, and particularly this part here that keeps that little tag end down. That part breaks off. This is the second band I've bought in like 4 months, and this little silicone, whatever they have, rips. So what I'm actually using here right now, that is actually a piece of Gorilla Tape. Kind of pathetic, but that's what it takes. What I do, I keep buying new bands for this. I think they could have done a much better job on this, and I'm not, you know, I don't think I would buy this thing again if I had to do it all over again. There's some things I like about it, but you know, one thing they tell you is that you shouldn't even shower with this. What's the point of making a fitness tracker or watch that isn't waterproof? I do like the profile. It's not super bulky, not super big, and it feels good. I like to, you know, get some information on how much I'm moving throughout the day, how many steps I've taken. I used to have a Fitbit 1, but I just didn't like the idea of carrying that in my pocket all the time, so I thought I should upgrade to the Blaze, and I do like it. I just wish they made a better band for it, and I wish it was a little bit more robust and could handle being wet. I don't like to take watches off the shower all the time, and so that's kind of a pain that way. Having said that, you know what? This thing is like riddled with grinding sparks and welding spatter. It's in rough shape and it still works pretty good. So I guess I can't say too much bad about it, but the straps is where they totally failed with this watch. Next on my person, I'll always carry some type of a small fixed blade. This here is the Bravo Bark River EDC. Good little knife. This was probably the very first nice knife that I'd purchased. It's a little bit tiny for my hands. You can see it there. But you know what? This is a pretty good little blade. I'm pretty happy with it. I beat the crap out of this knife and it's getting fairly well worn. I'd say it's got a couple years left and it's probably going to be time to reprofile, do some major work to it. One comment I get a lot is like, why don't you carry your own knives? And I do. I do carry my own knives, but when I do, it's typically because I'm testing out a new steel or new heat treat process or something. So that's always changing. That's never ever constant. I'd say the most constant fixed blade that I carry is probably this one, and I probably carry this one about 30% of the time. The other 70% of the time is probably a knife that I've made that I'm currently testing. One example of that would be this little sheep's foot EDC. This was the first one I'd made in 154 cm, so I was testing out the heat treat, and I do carry this knife a lot in this little leather wallet here. Slick little way to carry it, and I'll carry this one more when I'm going to in town into nicer functions as well, but that's another knife I carry. And then one thing I carry, whether I'm here at the homestead making knives or going into town, I never ever am caught without my Leatherman. This is the original Leatherman. Obviously my sheath has seen better days. And I just like the original Leatherman tool because it doesn't have anything unnecessary, but it's got pretty much everything I could ever need. I don't use the knife very much on this one. The file I use surprisingly quite a bit, and obviously screwdriver and stuff. Every now and then it's just so handy to have, especially during the hockey season when kids need their helmets tightened and stuff like that. This is super duper handy. And again, I like the original Leatherman because of its size. I like the pliers that when they're fully closed, they won't ever pinch you. I know some of them close totally flat. I don't like that. I've been pinched before. And I don't know, I find this to be a really good one. I've actually got 3 of these original Leathermans. I know they don't make this one anymore. So once this one dies, I've probably been carrying this one for about every day for about the last 12 years, and I've got 3 more that are brand new, so I think I'm good to go. I'm pretty sure for years and years and years to come, this will still be my EDC pliers of choice. Carry a cell phone with me everywhere. This is the iPhone 6. I've got a Magpul case, no screen protector. It's holding up well. I don't like screen protectors, and I don't know, I'm pretty hard on this phone, and I'm actually surprised at how well it's holding up. Obviously I keep my truck keys. This is something that changes out. I really like these little belt clips. You can just clip your keys in, clip them out. Depending on the belt I'm wearing though, if I'm wearing one of these like a nylon tactical belt that's slightly thinner, I can't use this because it comes off too easy. In that case, I'll just use this little Night Eyes carabiner thing. But when I'm wearing a leather belt, then I will use this little thing right here. And this is one of my favorite belt buckles, Millwright. And lastly, another thing I'll carry, doesn't really matter where I am, is a decent pen. I'm really fussy with my pen, so this is my pen of choice right now, the Staedtler Pigment Liner 0.3, super high quality pen, and it just writes beautifully. I absolutely love this thing, and I usually always have this in my pocket. And when I'm in the shop, I almost always have a notepad with me just to write down quick little measurements. I like these little Rhodias. They're small and they work good. I like the graph paper. You know, if you're machining something or cutting something, you know, you got the decimals, you're trying to figure stuff out. Really nice to always have a little notepad with you. But when I'm going out and about, I typically don't carry one of these because if I ever need to take some type of a note, I can usually just put it in my phone. And I don't like the extra bulk in my pocket. But usually I'll put this in the breast pocket of my coveralls or my shirt when I'm working in the shop. Really like having a little notepad with me. This is pretty much my EDC when I'm working in the shop here. Now let's take a look at what I carry when I'm out and about. All right, so when I'm cruising out and about, my phone obviously still remains the same. Keep that with me. A wallet. I don't carry my wallet around the Homestead with me when I'm working, but when I head out, I keep my wallet on me. I just like this very simple fold wallet here. It's got 2 pockets. I don't keep a lot of stuff, a lot of cards in my wallet. I like a really nice thin profile. This is actually getting a little bit on the thick side. I probably got some receipts I need to go through there, but I just like to keep a really thin wallet, and I usually carry this in my front left pocket. The knife that I'll carry is my Benchmade Griptilian. I really like this blade. This has been a dream knife of mine for a while, and I finally bought one about 2 years ago. Absolutely love it. It's very lightweight. Nice blade there. It's 154 cm. Put a beautiful edge on there with my Wicked Edge, so it always stays nice and sharp. The one thing I'd like to do though is find a deep carry clip for it. You can see this clip's getting kind of nice and worn out because I'm using it, but I'd like to either find a deep carry clip or make a deep carry clip possibly, but really love this knife. And again, this has been a dream knife life of mine, one that I've just wanted forever, and I finally bought one a while ago and couldn't be happier with it. Love this blade. I'll either wear my Fitbit when I'm going out, or it depends how fancy the occasion, I'll switch it up to this. This is a Citizen Eco Drive. I don't know the model, yada, 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 but my dad actually got this watch for me for Christmas, and this is way more watch than I would ever buy for myself. This has got one of those like automatic updates when you go to a new time zone. This thing, I don't know how it does it, but it always keeps the exact time. It's got like one of those, it's synced to some type of thing, I don't know. It's charged by illumination, not just the sun, but any light will charge it up. And just an absolutely incredible watch. I think this is like a $500 or $600 watch. Like I said, way more than I would ever spend on myself, but I don't know. I love this watch. I see why people get into watch collecting, and it's definitely something that if I had a lot more money, I would probably have quite a nice watch collection, because it is something else to have a really beautiful timepiece on your wrist. Keys obviously stay the same. Pen stays the same, my little flashlight stays the same, and my Leatherman stays the same. So that's pretty much my carry when I'm in town. Sometimes I'll swap it out by carrying this thing in my back pocket or something like that. Sometimes not, depending on where I'm going. Now, I know a lot of people carry pry bars, and I don't carry a pry bar. The reason for that is that I honestly am convinced that anything a little pry bar would do, this thing should be able to do without breaking. I mean, you know, people carry these little pry bars, and they're great. If you've got extra room and you want to have something extra dangling on your keychain, that's totally cool, but I just don't like it. I want as little stuff as possible, and if I've got to pry open a paint can or something like that, this screwdriver is going to do just as good of a job, and then I don't have the extra bulk on my keys. So, as you can see, it's quite minimalistic, and even this is probably a little, I wish I could pare this down a little more, but these items that I carry, whether I'm in town, whether I'm working around here, I have on me all the time, and I'm using them every single day. It's just amazing. You go to the post office, you need to open packages, you need to cut some tape. So nice to have a decent sharp knife with you all the time, and one that's just, you pull it out of your pocket, boom, you're ready to go. You're not like opening up the Leatherman, and so there is a bit of redundancy there, but at the same time, these I look at as pliers and screwdrivers, and this is a knife. And then of course when I'm going into town, I do keep my pants up with a belt of some sort. The one thing I forgot to mention that I usually always have with me is some type of a rag or a handkerchief. If I'm in the shop here, I've just got these little rags, keep them in my back pocket, and when I'm in town, usually I've got some type of a handkerchief, and especially when you have kids, really nice to have those with you. I'll keep them folded up in my back pocket. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think about my EDC. Is there stuff you do similar or different? Again, EDC is such a personal preference thing. You know, some people really like having all kinds of stuff in their pockets. Personally, it drives me nuts, so the less I can carry, the better. But at the same time, I always want to make sure that, you know, say if I have to do some type of an adjustment and I need a pair of pliers, it's so nice to have a Leatherman on me so I can make that adjustment rather than having to run to my toolbox, grab pliers, make the adjustment, put them back. It saves a lot of time keeping a Leatherman on me. Now, if you've got an office job, you might not use a Leatherman very much, and it's probably not worth the effort to carry it on your waist all the time. So again, it just kind of varies from person to person, situation to situation. There are two staples though that I think are very important that I think everybody should consider carrying, and that is some type of a pocket knife and some type of a small flashlight. Those two things make such a difference on a day-to-day basis. Whether you're cutting hay bales and twine and stuff on the farm, or just opening letters and packages in an office, a small pocket knife can be so valuable. And then a flashlight, you know, if you just even drop your pen and it rolls underneath the copy machine, you can go underneath there, find out where it is and grab it right away. If the power goes out, you can use your little light to find a bigger light. A small flashlight, especially one that is not noticeable, can be so valuable, and I consider that to be a staple for an EDC. Anyways, guys, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Cheers.